Hello and welcome to another Common Touch of Fantasy review. Today is a classic literature review, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I've been more interested in classical and modern literature lately. I follow a lot of booktubers that talk about classic lit, and I realized I want to start reading more classical literature. Reading my classic and modern classic literature will make me a more well-rounded reader and expose me to great works of literature that can shape who I am and how I think. My goal is to read one classic or modern classic literature book a month. I didn't think I was going to like Pride and Prejudice at first. My main hurdle was getting past the prose. I read it too much like poetry, and that hurt the flow of the book. Once I started reading faster, it became a world of difference. I also wrote down and downloaded a list of characters and their relations to each other because I had a hard time without Austen specifically saying who was speaking and all the Mr., Miss, and Mrs. that's in this book. The main point that I got from Pride and Prejudice was not to judge people too quickly. The book is named Pride and Prejudice because our own pride, the pride of others, and the prejudice that we have towards someone without getting to know them is detrimental to our social success. Elizabeth made a too hasty of a decision about Mr. Darcy just because of the way he acted at one party. She thought that he was too full of himself and he didn't condescend to the level of the girls at the party because he only danced with 4 girls when there was a lack of gentlemen for all the girls to dance with. Mr. Darcy didn't talk a whole lot at the many different functions, and that made a lot of the people think he wasn't very friendly and that he was prideful. One point that this book stresses is that gentlemen were encouraged to carry on conversations and to speak eloquently during social gatherings. And sometimes Mr. Darcy didn't do that. Finally, Elizabeth finds out that Mr. Darcy is a good guy, and that it was her prejudice towards him, and not his actual actions that were incorrect. In life, we have to be careful not to make a snap judgment of someone from one instance of meeting them. I know personally that I struggle greatly with this. I make too quick of judgments about people without getting to know them and giving them a chance. This book just helps me to realize how devastating it could possibly be for me to rule someone out just because of one thing. Having a prejudice towards someone that you just met because of something they said or did, or you assume that they did because of selfish reasons, is not right and something that I personally will work on. I really liked this book and felt that the prose was beautiful. I had to use my dictionary many times, but I found it to be a pleasant departure from what I usually read because it was more difficult and demanded more of my focus. Over time, my focus while reading has greatly improved, and I think that reading more books like Pride and Prejudice will help me even more. If you are looking for a classical literature book to sink your teeth into, something a little bit more difficult than your typical fiction book, then Pride and Prejudice is a great place to start. Don't give up on it too soon because it starts out a little slow, and make sure to keep track of all the characters on a sheet of paper or download a list of characters so that when you start reading, it'll help you out. Thank you for watching this review, and please visit commontouchoffantasy.com for more reviews and fantasy goodness. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Next book I will be reading is The Martian by Andy Weir. And I am also still working on The World of Fire and Ice. I hope that I finish these within a week. World of Fire and Ice, I haven't read enough, and I've had it now for a couple of weeks. I just haven't read it much at all. The Martian, so far, is fun, and I like it. It has a great humor to it, and I hope to talk about that next time. So until next time, I'll see you then.